Before the clash of swords, before the rise of empires, and long before modern technology changed the battlefield, there was already a living force that shaped the fate of armies. Rome, the empire known for its discipline and unmatched strategy, carried with it a secret weapon on four legs. A companion, a guardian, and in many ways, a soldier in its own right. History remembers the generals, the victories, and the legions. But hidden in the shadows of those stories is a creature bred not just for loyalty, but for power. Today, we uncover the story of the Canis Pugnax, Rome's war dog, the living weapon of an ancient empire. To understand why these dogs became so important, we first need to step into the world of the Roman army. Rome was not just an empire of marble palaces and crowded forums. It was an empire built on discipline, order, and military brilliance. A Roman legion was a machine of thousands of men, each soldier trained to march in step, to fight as one, and to never break formation. Their strength wasn't only in numbers, but in organization. Every soldier had a role, every movement was calculated, and every decision on the battlefield was designed to intimidate as much as to conquer. But Rome's enemies were fierce. From the wild tribes of the north to the skilled cavalry of the east, the empire was constantly challenged. They needed every advantage they could find. And while weapons and strategies gave them power, Rome also understood something deeper: the human mind. Fear, confusion, and surprise could be as deadly as any blade. This is where their living weapon found its place. Asterisk, the Canis Pugnax was not an ordinary animal. Known today as an ancestor of the Mastiff breeds, this dog was large, muscular, and loyal beyond question. It was bred in Italy centuries before Rome reached its height, valued by farmers and hunters for protection and strength. The Romans saw more than a companion, they saw potential. These dogs were trained from an early age, not just to obey, but to understand commands in the chaos of battle. Their role began with guarding camps, protecting supplies, and standing watch at night. But soon, their presence grew. Legends say their deep bark could travel across fields, unsettling those who faced the Roman legions. Whether these stories are myth or truth, the image of a powerful animal standing beside Rome's soldiers added a new dimension to the empire's might. The Canis Pugnax was not just muscle, it was morale. For Roman troops, it was reassurance. For their enemies, it was an unsettling reminder that Rome's strength came in many forms. Asterisk, asterisk, when Rome marched to war, the Canis Pugnax marched with them. Historical mentions describe how these dogs were used in different ways. Some guarded the flanks of armies, others charged forward alongside their handlers, and many simply stood as a wall of intimidation before battle began. Think about it, a legion of disciplined soldiers, shields locked together, spears raised high, and in front of them, dogs bred for power and loyalty, growling in anticipation. The psychological effect was undeniable. Before the first strike was made, fear was already planted. The Romans, masters of organization, trained these animals with care. They weren't reckless. They were controlled, disciplined, and part of the strategy. In many ways, they became symbols of Rome itself, loyal, unyielding, and ready to serve. For the soldiers, these animals were not tools, they were companions. Stories suggest that bonds between handler and dog were strong, forged through training, travel, and the shared hardships of war. To the men of Rome, the Canis Pugnax was more than a weapon. It was family. Asterisk, asterisk. But as time passed, warfare changed. Rome's enemies developed new strategies, new armor, and new ways to resist the empire's might. The role of the war dogs slowly began to shift. They were still valued as guardians and companions, but their role on the battlefield became less central. And yet, their legacy did not vanish. The Canis Pugnax became the foundation of breeds that survive even today. Mastiffs, cane corsos, and other powerful dogs trace their lineage back to these Roman guardians. The presence of such animals in Roman history is a reminder of how humans and animals have always shaped one another, especially in times of conflict. When Rome itself began to decline, so too did many of its traditions. But the image of the war dog, standing beside a legionary, silent yet powerful, remains one of the most striking reminders of the empire's resourcefulness. Asterisk. So what do we take away from this forgotten chapter? Rome was an empire of innovation. From aqueducts to roads, from tactics to philosophy, it left behind a legacy that still shapes our world. But in its armies, it also showed that strength isn't only about weapons and numbers. Sometimes it's about loyalty, psychology, and the bond between man and animal. The Canis Pugnax may not be remembered as widely as Caesar or the Colosseum, but its story reminds us that history is not just about people. It is about every force, living or otherwise, that shaped the rise and fall of civilizations. And so, the next time we think of Rome's unstoppable legions, let's not forget the silent companions who walked beside them. The guardians who never asked for glory, but who stood as Rome's living weapons. If you enjoyed this journey into history's hidden stories, make sure to subscribe and join us for more explorations of the past, where every detail, no matter how small, brings us closer to understanding the world we live in today.